After dividing the roles, Han orders Ivalka to extend a flame wall to block the goblins, with Eren assigned to protect her. Ivalka expresses concern, noting that while she can block the goblins, the ogre is too large to be stopped by the flame wall. Han instructs Ivalka to focus on dealing with the goblins, assuring her that he will handle the ogre himself. As the ogre strikes at Han with its hammer, Han quickly dodges the blow. Observing the ogre's immense power, Han realizes that a single hit could be fatal and that his shield would be ineffective due to the overwhelming difference in strength. He concludes that his only option is to take his time and wear the ogre down gradually. Meanwhile, Ivalka uses her fire spell to block the goblins, allowing Han to engage the ogre. Jenna then joins the battle, shooting arrows at the ogre from behind. Noticing the effectiveness of Jenna's strikes, Han comments on their impact. Jenna replies that the ogre's large size makes it easier to hit than the goblins, and since it cannot dodge, she can continue damaging the monster this way. To Jenna's surprise, the ogre hadn't slowed down at all. She suggests facing the goblins instead, but Han points out that the ogre isn't dodging because it doesn't need to. He explains that her attacks won't be effective unless she targets the ogre's vital points, advising her to stop wasting her arrows. Jenna then asks Han if the ogre even has any weak points. At that moment, Jenna notices another ogre rushing toward them and urgently informs Han. Shocked by this development, Han realizes they are at a disadvantage. Eren's side was already struggling to hold off the goblins, and now a second ogre threatens to tip the balance even further. Determined to take the risk, Han rushes in and blocks the ogre's strike with his shield. He continues to press forward, aiming for the ogre's vital points. Enraged, the ogre swings its hammer at Han, but he swiftly leaps back to avoid the blow. Seizing an opening, Han jumps into the air and strikes at the ogre's head, but the creature withstands the attack. Undeterred, Han uses his shield to push forward and drives his sword into the ogre's vital points. Han successfully takes down one of the ogres and then shifts his focus to the other. Eren informs him that the boss ogre is heading their way and wonders if it's targeting Ivalka. Eren then suggests that Jenna lure the ogre with her arrows. As Jenna strikes the ogre, it continues advancing and nearly hits Eren. To Han's surprise, just as the ogre is about to strike Ivalka, it unexpectedly walks past her. Realizing something, Han recalls a doubt he had earlier about the destroyed dam on the 7th floor. The dam was shattered into pieces, as if something had crushed it, and there were dents in the dirt. The goblins didn't have the strength or tools to break through the castle walls and buildings. Han quickly tells everyone that the ogre's target isn't Ivalka but the dam. In response, Jenna quickly steps forward and strikes the ogre with her arrow. Han then lunges forward and injures the ogre's legs, preventing it from moving toward the dam. The ogre falls into the river, and Han briefly thinks they narrowly avoided disaster. However, to his surprise, the ogre emerges from the river and breaks the dam, causing water to surge downstream. Eren, having dealt with the goblins, asks Han what they should do next. Shocked, Han realizes that their party has failed. If their previous information and assumptions were correct, reinforcements are expected to arrive through the forest on the other side of the dam. However, with the river's current now stronger due to the broken dam, the reinforcements will be unable to cross. At this rate, the 10 members of Party 1 and Party 2, along with the 360 soldiers currently defending against the siege, will have to face over 3,000 goblins on their own. Stunned, Han struggles to determine their next course of action as Eren continues to press him for guidance. As Han regains his composure, he tells Eren that they should head back to formulate a second plan. In his mind, Han wonders if a second plan even exists. Just then, Ivalka asks Han to wait. Han, curious, asks Ivalka what she has in mind. Ivalka uses the Dresut move spell to lift a massive rock from the ground and pushes it toward the damaged section of the dam, successfully repairing it and blocking the water. Han is shocked by what he sees. Ivalka then explains that telekinesis is one of the most basic spells, and there's no way she wouldn't know it. Angered, Han tells Ivalka that she should have informed him if she could do something like this. Confused, Ivalka asks why Han is upset, pointing out that the mission would have failed without her intervention. Han sternly reprimands Ivalka, stating that he specifically told her to share all the spells she knows. Ivalka responds that telekinesis was such a basic spell that she didn't think it was necessary to mention. As Han calms down, he tells Ivalka that it's thanks to her they will survive, acknowledging that the operation would have failed without her intervention. Just then, Jenna informs Han that the goblins are coming back. They all prepare to face the massive horde. As the goblins charge, Han rushes forward and takes down a goblin, and everyone else joins the battle as well. Han reflects that it's been a while since the stage began, yet there are still no signs of reinforcements. He starts feeling increasingly anxious, wondering if his prediction was wrong and if the reinforcements even exist. Han then instructs Ivalka to drink the remaining potions and use her second layer magic. Just as one of the goblins slips through and targets Ivalka, a figure on horseback suddenly appears and takes down the goblin. It's a soldier. Seeing this, Han realizes that reinforcements have arrived. As the goblins continue to charge, the soldier shouts, "Iron Lion Cavalry, cross the river and take down these goblins." Han stands stunned as the remaining Iron Lion Cavalry rush in and cross the river. A notification appears, stating that the allied NPCs, the Iron Lion Cavalry, have joined the battle. Han quickly tells Jenna and Eren not to just stand there, and instructs them to regroup around Ivalka. As they gather around her, the Lion Cavalry charges forward, cutting down the goblins. Observing this, Han estimates that there are approximately 500 soldiers in the cavalry force. Although they are still outnumbered, the Lion Cavalry seems much stronger than the city guards. Jenna remarks that the reinforcements are pushing the goblins back hard. Han agrees, commenting that the situation is intense, but noting that Party 1's role here seems to be done, allowing them to rest and spectate. However, Han wishes that Party 1 could do more. Han then asks if anyone knows how to ride a horse. Jenna responds confidently that she does, and then asks Han if he knows how to ride. Han admits that he'll have to learn right now, which surprises Jenna. Han thought to himself that, normally, the master can't interfere in battle directly, but they can still influence the outcome. For example, by requesting a skill book, Beginner Equestrianism. A notification appears, stating that Han requested a skill book and that the master has agreed. A book materializes in front of Han, revealing it to be Equestrianism, one of the skill books available for purchase at the combat shop. Although Han can't learn skills directly related to combat, he can acquire supplementary skills that help him progress in other ways. With this, Han awakens a new skill, enabling him to ride a horse. Seeing Han on horseback, Jenna remarks that Han had told her he didn't know how to ride a horse. Han simply replies that he does now. He then states that they've evened the odds a little and that it's time to launch their counterattack. As Han and the others move forward, Han considers that the goblins on the east side won't pose much of a threat until the castle gates fall. Their primary concern should be the ones with siege ladders on the north side. The cavalry is heading north with this in mind, and if Party 1 follows them, it could lead to success. However, Han knows it won't be that simple. There's no way the game would end so easily. Han then instructs his party to move to the side, away from the battlefield. Surprised, Eren asks Han if they shouldn't be protecting the northern gates. Han counters by asking if Eren really believes this level will end that easily. Han then tells Jenna to move out of the range of the goblins' arrows, as they will be heading toward the northern forest. As they advance toward the northern forest, Han notices that the rain has stopped completely. As Party 1 approaches the forest, Han spots goblin riders preparing an ambush from within the trees. Han states that if Party 1 can block the goblins' path with Ivalka's magic, they can stop the ambush. They also notice that there are ogres in the forest. Han points them out to Eren, explaining that it would be problematic if these goblin riders joined the main forces from here. The cavalry alone wouldn't be sufficient to hold them back without support. Han then asks Ivalka if she has enough magic left. Ivalka responds that she can cast a spell, but it won't be very powerful. Han advises Ivalka to focus more on covering a larger area rather than maximizing power, as they will be moving through the northern forest. He instructs her to use her magic to burn down the entire forest. The scene then shifts to Party 2, where Daika is battling goblins. Exhausted and on the verge of collapse, Daika is about to fall when Adis steps in and takes down the goblins in front of her, shocking Daika. Grateful, Daika thanks Adis for her help. Adis encourages Daika to stay focused and keep fighting. At that moment, Adis notices the lion cavalry charging forward and cutting down the goblins in their path. Adis realizes that Han has succeeded. Adis instructs her party to hold on, as victory is imminent. Meanwhile, in Party 1, Ivalka uses her spell to burn down the entire forest, taking out the goblin riders and ogres as well. However, Han observes that Ivalka will experience mana overflow if she uses any more magic, so her role in this battle ends here. As they move on, Han reflects on the city's defense. About 100 soldiers remain fighting on the northern walls, having suffered many casualties before the cavalry could join them. Half of the cavalry was lost in an ogre ambush, and a battle between the cavalry and the remaining goblin riders ensued shortly after. If Han had not dealt with the goblin riders in the northern forest, the entire cavalry force would have been overwhelmed. Despite the overwhelming numerical disadvantage, the cavalry proved their strength. Their skill made up for the deficit. With that, the mission was over, and the party was relieved to have survived. Han and his team approached the main gate, reflecting on the fact that both Party 1 and Party 2 had managed to avoid casualties, a stark contrast to their experience on the 5th floor. Jenna then asked why they weren't returning yet, as they had completed their mission. At that moment, Han realized something. Despite having dealt with all the monsters, the stage-clear message had not yet appeared. He wondered why the message was absent, as there seemed to be nothing else left to do. Suddenly, a notification window appeared, stating that enemies were restoring, a server error had occurred, and players had been disconnected. Han, shocked, was confused by the sudden halt in activity. As he turned around, he saw a boss monster at level 999. Han remembered that this boss monster was the reason he ended up trapped inside the game. Angered, he faced the formidable creature before him. Han reflects on his achievements, noting that with a party of max level 6-star heroes selected from many, he was the first in Korea to break through the 88th floor. Using heroes who were not inferior to anyone else's, Han rose to 5th place on the global rankings. In Pick Me Up, hero pulls, skills, and battles were all based on luck, and battles were conducted automatically by the heroes. While Han could give general instructions, the heroes decided when and how to use their skills. For unknown reasons, actions that are typically impossible during battles were permitted. Despite this, if the game were truly governed only by stars and luck, Han would not have reached the rank he achieved. The main attraction of Pick Me Up for Han was the opportunity to overcome luck with skill. However, facing this boss monster, a level 999 entity with a 7-star hero limit, was absurd. As Han assesses the situation, he notices a dark mage accompanying the boss monster. The dark mage ominously states that he will be waiting for Han. Han is shocked by the scene. As the dark mage departs, everything returns to normal and the server reconnects. Han finds himself back in the present. Jenna, noticing Han's worried expression, asks what is happening. Han urgently instructs Jenna to quickly ride the horse into the castle. Concerned, Eren asks Han for an explanation. Han informs them that the mission is not over yet. The Dark Mage is a creature that has never been reported on the lower floors and specializes in necromancy. At that moment, all the defeated monsters rise as undead and begin to attack. Eren is astonished to see the monsters being revived. Han directs Eren and Jenna to ignore the undead and return to their original location. He explains that necromancy is a unique spell capable of turning monsters into undead, which will continue to attack until the Dark Mage, who controls them, is defeated. Adis instructs one of her party members to go and open the main gate. Han realizes that the Dark Mage is definitely not a monster that should appear on the early floors of the tower. As the main door opens, Jenna and Eren enter first, but Han stays outside. He informs them that he will leave Ivalka in Jenna's care and instructs Jenna and the others to regroup with Adis inside the castle and protect the goddess statue. They should be able to hold their ground by locking the gate and maintaining their position until Han returns. Both Jenna and Eren express their concern, telling Han that he shouldn't go alone. Han challenges them to wake up and asks if they will return alive with him or die here. Eren responds that he will return with Han. Jenna, still worried, urges Han to come back safely. As the door starts to close, Han smirks and retorts that it's not even a question. Before the door closes completely, Ivalka calls out to Han to ensure he doesn't die. Han acknowledges her with a simple, yes, of course, as the door shuts. Han faces the swarm of undead monsters and charges forward, swiftly taking down the first undead creature that confronts him. Han realizes that confronting all the monsters at once would be his end. The only viable strategy is to locate the Dark Mage. He notices that even the ogre has been turned into an undead, and at this rate, the gates will not hold. As Han rushes toward the forest, two monsters approach from behind to attack him. However, Jenna swiftly uses her arrows to eliminate the threats, which brings a smile to Han's face. Meanwhile, the monsters have managed to breach the main gate, causing a flood of creatures to pour in. Han, shocked by the breach, understands the urgency of dealing with the Dark Mage. The mage has vanished into the burning forest, which must be where he is hiding. Han resolves to hurry and confront the Dark Mage before the situation deteriorates further. Han analyzes the monster's movements and identifies two main objectives. First, to destroy the goddess statue, and second, to eliminate the humans. The monster's combat skills and physical capabilities have significantly improved compared to when they were alive, and they exhibit a random pattern of attack designed to overwhelm the defenders. Han wishes he had a second body to manage the situation more effectively. He realizes that Adis's leadership is far more exceptional than he initially acknowledged. Even in this dire situation, she demonstrates considerable combat prowess. The protection of the goddess statue must remain Adis's top priority. Should the outer walls be breached, parties 1 and 2 will need to immediately fall back to the inner walls and barricade themselves within the castle. With Jenna and Aaron's experience from the 5th floor, they will be able to hold their ground for a longer period. Han understands that the critical factor is not how long they can last, but how quickly he can deal with the Dark Mage. As Han enters the forest, he notices that his fire resistance skill has increased. Han looks around but cannot locate the Dark Mage. Reaching the edge of the map, he asserts that he knows the mage is present. A notification appears, indicating that both new party members are frightened and their condition has decreased by 30%. Additional notifications follow, showing that Adis and Daika have been injured. At that moment, the Dark Mage stealthily attacks Han with dark magic. Han manages to block the incoming strike with his shield. Han notes that while the Dark Mage's combat abilities are relatively low, its strength is considerable compared to what one would expect from lower floors. Multiple magic spears then strike at Han simultaneously. He successfully dodges several of the spears and blocks the rest with his sword. However, one spear hits him from behind, though he withstands the impact. Han realizes that without his projectile defense skill, he would have been defeated by now. The situation continues to worsen. As Han inhales the smoke and dust, he realizes he doesn't have much time left before he loses consciousness or his party is overwhelmed. He needs to deal with the Dark Mage quickly. The Dark Mage then speaks, expressing a desire to talk to Han. Han asks what the mage wants, but as he strikes towards the direction of the mage's voice, the mage is no longer there. Han enters berserk mode and charges towards the source of the magic spears. He eventually locates the Dark Mage. As Han attacks, both he and the Dark Mage strike each other simultaneously. Despite the mutual hits, Han manages to defeat the Dark Mage, though he is severely injured. Now that the Dark Mage has been defeated, Han wonders why the stage-clear message hasn't appeared yet. It might not be over. Han fears he might die before the goddess statue is destroyed, but to everyone's relief, the goddess statue remains intact and floor 10 is cleared. Han, Jenna, and Ivalka from Party 1, along with everyone from Party 2, have leveled up. Han is recognized as the MVP. The scene shifts, revealing Han waking up in his room. He is relieved to find himself alive. As Han steps outside, he sees Aaron sitting alone. Han asks Aaron why he looks so glum. Aaron responds that Han's waking up was a relief, as everyone was worried. Han, confused, inquires why everyone was concerned and what has been troubling Aaron so much. Aaron explains that he was reflecting on the purpose of their fight. After Han left the gate, the undead had flooded into the city. Han realizes that NPCs might have perished and guesses that Aaron's stress levels have risen. Aaron then mentions that he will head out first. Han asks if Aaron will come out tomorrow looking the same way. Aaron assures Han that he will be fine by then. The scene transitions to the dining room, where Chloe has prepared an exceptional breakfast. Jenna, pleased, asks Chloe why they are having such a fancy meal. Chloe explains that Han requested her to make the best meal possible with the available ingredients. Han then asks Jenna if she doesn't like it. Jenna responds that she loves it and appreciates the warm welcome. Han is relieved to see that Jenna is normal, Aaron seems fine, and Ivalka is doing well. However, Daika appears to need some time to fully recover from his stress. A window then appears, indicating that a hero is awaiting advancement, and the hero eligible for advancement is Han. The master approves the advancement, and the advancement room is now complete. The necessary items for the advancement are used, resulting in an advancement stone. With the synthesis of materials complete, Han receives the advancement stone from Isol. Isol expresses her excitement, telling Han that this will make him a 2nd star, and encourages him to maintain the momentum to reach 7 stars and conquer the tower. Han expresses doubt about reaching 7 stars, to which Isol responds that if anyone can achieve it, it's Loki. Han reflects that if that were the case, Sirius would have already achieved 7 stars. Despite his efforts, Han has never been able to obtain a 7-star hero, and he wonders if there might be a separate condition that needs to be met. The advancement window then appears. Han realizes that the additional facility within the synthesizing room is the advancement room. Upon entering, he anticipates advancing to a 2-star hero. He notices a door that appears to be connected to the 2nd floor. As he approaches, Han considers that advancements are one of the areas the master cannot observe. After placing the hero and ingredients into the advancement room, the hero appears shortly thereafter, having advanced to the next star. The master is unable to see what happens inside. Han places the advancement stone on the circle, which then creates a magic circle. As Han begins to see memories, he is initially surprised and confused. He realizes he cannot approach the woman in the vision and wonders who she is, as he has no family of his own. The baby she is holding is not Han. It is Islet, the child who was originally supposed to come here instead of the current Han. Han is baffled by the situation and recognizes that there is no point in lingering. When Han exits, he is shocked to find that the waiting room is missing and that no facilities have been built. It did not look like the master's waiting room. At that moment, the gate opened and Isol emerged. Han noted that this Isol appeared smaller than before and seemed unable to speak. Isol pointed to another door. Han observed that it was the Advent locked dungeon. To his surprise, the Advent dungeon began to open, and suddenly, warning windows started to appear. Han felt a wave of pressure and dropped to one knee, his stats decreasing by 30%. Confused by the pressure, Han initially struggled to understand what was happening, but then went into berserk mode. After calming down, the boss monster of level 999 appeared before Han, stating that they had finally met again. Han pointed his sword at the boss monster and wondered why it was here. He acknowledged that they had indeed met, and was certain this monster was responsible for bringing him into the game world. Han wanted to confront and defeat the monster immediately, but knew he had little chance, given that the monster had defeated a high-level 5 and 6-star Diora party in under 10 seconds. The monster then tells Han that he isn't charging at him and must be feeling very resentful. Han retorts, asking the monster to stop talking nonsense and to send him back. The monster laughs and comments that Han would have died much earlier if he had no self-control. Suddenly, Han experiences a headache and asks the monster if all hero advancements are like this. The monster replies that Han knows this is not the case, as Han is a special existence. This place is a gift prepared specifically for Han, the glorious ranker of Pick Me Up. The monster then transforms into a girl who resembles Isol. Han, shocked, struggles to understand what is happening. The girl says she is unsure how to introduce herself. Han thinks Isol might look like this woman when she grows up. The woman clarifies that Han thought she looked like Isol, but it is not that she resembles Isol. Rather, Isol resembles her. Isol, whom Han knows, is a duplicate of this woman, designated as the 100,497th, a number similar to the download count of Pick Me Up. The woman then throws a card towards Han. Han reads the card, which mentions the president of Mobius Corporation. He asks the girl if she is speaking nonsense. The girl responds that she has more than one name, depending on the circumstances. Angered, Han demands to know if she brought him to this place. The girl tells him not to hate her too much, explaining that it was unexpected for Han to be summoned to Mobius. It was outside her expectations and more like an accident. Han retorts that he does not care about her situation and insists that she send him back to his world. He warns her that if she doesn't comply, he will take her down. The girl, with a serious expression, states that a mere one-star hero threatening her is dreaming too big. Han counters that things will change over time. The girl then declares that if that is the case, eliminating Han here is the best solution. She then uses her dark spear to strike at Han with full force. Han does not attempt to dodge and takes the hit head-on. The girl remarks that Han did not even flinch when the spear hit him. The girl tells Han that he has guts. Han then asks her what she wants. He reflects that, given the numerous opportunities she must have had to eliminate him, her summoning him here likely indicates she has another goal. The girl stands up and explains that she does not want much. She merely wanted to have a conversation with Han, the indomitable and invincible Master Loki, who is renowned throughout the world. She admits to being a fan of Han and reveals that she has been impressed by him numerous times while monitoring his progress. Niflheim is also a top priority observation target for the company, and she feels it would be inappropriate to meet Han without acknowledging his significance. The girl further explains that she came to reveal the truth about this world and asks Han what he, as the great Master Loki, thinks about the story of this mobile game. She informs Han that the story is often overlooked by users in the game, Pick Me Up, as people are usually more focused on the content. The situation is the same for her. The girl states that the story of Pick Me Up is quite outdated and reveals little about the world. Even with some progress, most masters remain unaware that other worlds exist. She then asks Han if he knows where he is. Han replies that he really does not care. The girl informs him that he is on the Taenir continent, in the Heim Peninsula, specifically the city of Nelsa. Although this is the city Han encountered on the 10th floor, it is now completely destroyed. The girl shows Han various locations: Silkia, Kaya, Edora, Peonia, Madian, Acardia, Lilgia, Halsey, Arantia, Cisnea, and even Bardia. These represent the current conditions across all areas of Taenir. She asks Han if he thinks Niflheim is any different, noting that all continents connected to Mobius have suffered similar fates, with over 100 million worlds being destroyed simultaneously. The girl explains that this is a book whose end has already been decided, a tragic ending. All the characters within the book hope for a different conclusion, and what they need to do is quite simple. They need to pull someone from outside the book into it and fix and rewrite the story. Even if the setting and probabilities change, and even if space and time collapse, a higher dimensional being can alter causality through observation. This was the reason for the creation of the Pick Me Up game. Hearing this, Han smiles and remarks that he was curious about the grand story she intended to share. He then asks the girl what the purpose of telling him all this is. The girl requests Han's cooperation to save the world together with her. Han refuses and tells her to stop talking nonsense. The girl urges him to consider her request carefully and decide whether to accept or reject it. Han, with a serious expression, tells the girl to stop talking. He thinks that after being pulled into this game and suffering so much, she now asks for his cooperation. Han doesn't understand what the girl is talking about and tells her he will not cooperate. If she intends to take him down, he will do his best to crush her. The girl responds that Han is being too harsh and that she feels hurt. Han realizes that he has bluffed as much as he can, but he cannot defeat this girl at the moment, given that he is only a one-star hero with stats at level 10. He decides to challenge her once he becomes stronger. Han tells the girl that he does not want to continue the conversation and demands to be sent back. The girl responds that she has expended a great deal of effort to bring him to this place and holds him in high regard compared to other masters in Pick Me Up. She explains that even if a ranker were placed before him, they would appear as insignificant as a firefly compared to the grandeur of the moon. The girl asks Han if he knows why, and then reveals that it is because Han, also known as Loki, has achieved a unique accomplishment unmatched by any other master in the game. A notification window then appears, stating that there is a master trust bond with the heroes. The girl acknowledges that Han understands the significance of this phrase, which appeared after clearing the tutorial. She tells him that among the 100 million masters, only Han, the Loki, truly comprehends its meaning. As she speaks, the surroundings begin to change. The girl informs Han that this is the stage on the 80th floor of Niflheim, a level Han was a master of 6 months ago. Among the 100 million users, only 4 others, in addition to Han, were granted permission to raid this exceptionally challenging stage. This is why those ranked 6th and below were left on the 79th floor. Han asks the girl why she is showing him this, and she replies that it's simple. She invites Han to watch the scene unfold together and advises him to sit down, as he will need to be comfortable for this.